Guardians of the Galaxy, another one of my favorite movies of all time. Just like Iron Man, not just one of my favorite superhero movies or Marvel movies, just one of my favorite movies of all time. And when they first announced it, it was just like, wait, Guardians of the Galaxy? Like, wait, what? There's like a talking raccoon and a talking giant tree? Like, what the heck? How are they going to do this? Like, you just had this amazing movie with Winter Soldier, and now you're suddenly having these goofballs. You have Chris Pratt, the chubby guy from Parks and Rec, is the main character. Like, how are you going to do this? But obviously, James Gunn and the cast and crew, proved us all wrong. That first trailer dropped with the whole hooked on a feeling soundtrack. You just knew that this was going to be completely different and, something unique and iconic in a way. But yeah, right off the bat, we're kind of introduced to the character of Peter Quill and how his mother, Meredith Quill, is dying and how he feels this guilt because, he didn't take her hand when she offered it to him and offers him, this present beforehand. It's this kind of like thing that he holds on, he never wants to open it because he doesn't want to feel that guilt that he has for not taking his mom's hand. And then after his mom dies, he kind of rushes outside and then gets abducted by Yondu. And then Yondu obviously revealed to be like a trickster character. You think he's going to be like an enemy, but then at the very end, kind of jumping all over the place, but he kind of reveals that he was supposed to deliver Peter Quill to his father. And then, obviously we'll get revealed later on that Peter's father is kind of like a godlike being and that Peter Quill is actually, half human, half celestial, which gets revealed in Volume 2 and has all these abilities which get established later on when, the Guardians come together and they have to hold on to the Power Stone, which gets revealed in this movie. And, they don't die because, Peter has these extra abilities. But then back to Yondu, he refuses to take Peter to his dad because, he was another word for donkey, which gets revealed his whole attention in Volume 2. But yeah, so he gets abducted and then we get introduced to a slew of new characters who will become very important later on. Korath, who was working for a character named Ronan the Accuser, who's like the main villain with his giant hammer. We get reintroduced to Thanos and then his two stepdaughters, Nebula and Gamora, who obviously become very important later on. And we also have Rocket and Groot, some of my favorite characters of all time. Very Han Solo, Chewbacca type characters. And then Drax the Destroyer, whose family was killed by Ronan under the orders of Thanos. So that gives him his whole motivation to join the team. But yeah, overall, just like great space adventure. We get introduced to, kind of like I was saying earlier, to the Power Stone, which is like the orb that Peter Quill is like after at the beginning. It's revealed to be an Infinity Stone. And that's kind of like the MacGuffin throughout the movie that all the characters are trying to get. But then, we kind of get to the big ending, like I was saying earlier, of Ronan putting the stone into his hammer and he's about to, destroy this planet called Xandar, which is an establishment for this place called the Nova Corps, which is kind of like a warring faction with this other alien species called the Kree, which Ronan is a part of, which we'll get to more in Captain Marvel later on, that whole backstory. So he's about to destroy Xandar, but then Peter has, the dance off, bro, you and me. And then to distract him, meanwhile, like Rocket is making his little gun to fire at the hammer. The hammer gets destroyed, the Power Stone is like flying. Peter, slow motion, tries to grab it, grabs it, and then he's obviously being affected by it. And then, the only way to ease that pain is kind of distribute it among the other characters. So then they're all working together to distribute the power and they use it to defeat Ronan. We get that earlier scene where Tavon, the Collector, is telling them all the whole backstory about the Infinity Stones. And he was a character that was established in Thor the Dark World. That was like one of the few essential things from Thor the Dark World is the post-credit scene where the Collector takes the Reality Stone, which will get brought up again in Infinity War. And it was like after the Power Stone, but then his assistant, Karina, grabs the Infinity Stone, blows everything up, and then the Guardians escape. But yeah, cutting back to the ending, they defeat Ronan, their records are expunged because they were previously criminals, and they become the Guardians of the Galaxy and, fly off into, the twin sunset. And we have the fun post-credit scene of like Baby Groot, because that amazing scene before the Dark Aster is about to go down, with the Guardians in it, he kind of spreads his branches, protects the Guardians and dies, but then Rocket keeps this little sapling and then that grows up into potted Baby Groot who's dancing around and everything, iconic character, see all those toys at the Disneyland store of like the dancing Groot or ones that you put on your shoulder or whatever. But yeah, overall great movie, great soundtrack, great score, just fun jokes, just overall just really fun movie. And it's really going to be cool to see how they finally get integrated into the Infinity War storyline, especially with Nebula and Gamora already having connection with Thanos and Drax in a way having a connection with Thanos as well. So it'll be cool seeing them once they finally do meet the Guardians and try to work together to defeat Thanos.